All right, I've got my coffee and I am ready for another Jethro Tull reaction. Let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, why did I say hi twice? Hi, my name is Katie and I am a nerdy flute player, which means I do covers of video games, anime, TV, film, and if all that sounds interesting. There will be a link up in the cards as well as in the description below where you can find all of my cover songs, as well as links to all the streaming services so you can stream even more of my music. I am also a gamer girl. I stream here on YouTube as well as twitch.tv/Katie Shesko, and you can find me playing things like Breath of the Wild. I'm working on a playthrough of Witcher 3 and Board Game Night. Right now we're working on a Gloomhaven campaign. So if all that sounds interesting, make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube-y things. Really appreciate it, and follow me on all of my social media. So let's dive into today's reaction. Today I am reacting to Jethro Tull, Living in the Past 1969. This looks like it's a live recording, so I know people have been wanting me to react to studio versions. If you are interested in that, make sure you leave me a comment below. I'm slowly working through the numerous suggestions I have. Yeah, let's dive into this. Oh, I'm digging it already. It's got like a very smooth, like salsa feeling almost. Wow, I'm really digging this. What a dance, like. It's just so fun. I'm really enjoying this. I'm loving this. I love how just chill he looks. Just like just vibing. I love it. Just want to dance. I'm digging the bass line too. Oh, 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 that sounds so good. Wow. Okay, so it looks like this was like a studio recording that someone just filmed while they were doing it, or at least that was supposed to be the vibe of the video. So not a live performance, but not like a live stage performance. That was so enjoyable. Like that was just really chill. Like it was just like a very laid back vibe. I mean there's just no other way to put it. Like that was delightful. I liked the little solos. I liked how the flute was interspersed. You kind of had some of those extended techniques, which we'll dive into fully in a couple of minutes. But yeah, like I would like put this on like a beach playlist. Like if I was having like a beach party, this song would be on the playlist because that just has that really cool, chill, back vibe with some mixed meter. It was just overall, I really liked that. Why has it taken me 30 years to listen to Jethro Tull? Like, what have I been doing with my life? Because that was just delightful. All right, so let's go back and deep dive into this. So because of how I do my reactions where I listen to the full thing or watch the full video before doing a detailed analysis, my videos do tend to get copyright claimed. So if this kind of content interests you, please consider becoming a patron over on patreon.com/KatieShesko. YouTube memberships are in the works. I will have those up hopefully soon. But until then, please consider becoming a patron. There, I post my reactions for early access when they are done. You'll kind of see what reactions are coming up. I post a monthly update and kind of just, you know, extra content and more behind the scenes of what I'm doing. Please consider supporting my content over there. Let's deep dive into this song. I won't get too much into the lyrics. One, I don't have the lyrics in front of me, and two, I feel like diving into lyrics of songs can be an entire video of themselves. So I'm just going to focus on the song in general and the flute playing because I'm a flute player, so that's what I know. So all right, let's dive into the full song. I love that bass vibe, that bass line. I love it. It's so cool, that da 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 da. So it's kind of setting you up for what the tempo or for what the song is. And from my just first pass listening, I'm really getting like a 1-2-3-1-2 vibe. I don't know if it's in like a 6-8 or anything like that, but you're definitely getting a 1-2-3-1-2, 1-2-3-1-2. And it's not what you traditionally hear. It's not what you hear in a lot of pop music or even like I say pop music as in popular music of the day. You didn't really have those kind of key changes, at least to my knowledge. I'm a child of the 80s. 1969 was a bit before my time, and I'm not super familiar with music of the late 60s, early 70s, but from the bits of music that I do know, you didn't really have like this mixed meter thing going on in your songs. Things tend to be a little bit more straightforward. So it's giving you a really fun like salsa vibe to it that it's delightful. It just makes you want, I mean, you saw me dancing. I'm sorry I've subjected you to my dancing. You saw the dancing, you just want to get up and move to it. It's really happy and puts you in a good mood. Because this is kind of like a studio recording video, I don't know how much of this was actual live versus how much was like a full mix. I know in my own songs, I tend to, when I have flute, I have multiple flute parts. So if you ever see me like doing a music video, I'm obviously only playing one flute part, but you hear multiple flute parts in the song. So, but knowing that Jethro Tull can play a lot of like dual tones at the same time, with the first pass, it's hard to tell what is him just being like playing multi-tones and what is just the layering effect that you have in post-production. But either way, I'm loving this harmony. I'm loving this harmony. It's just a very happy, bright, major chord harmony, and I'm digging it. So even right there, you know, this is like not super extended technique. You hear a little bit of flutter tonguing in there, which if you're kind of going for that salsa smooth jazz vibe is not surprising. It adds a beautiful effect. I love it. And it's for the most part, like pretty, I don't want to say plain. Plain's not the right word, but considering some of the extended techniques I've heard in other songs and some of his live performances and stuff, this is like very like just level. This is something that any flute player could sit and pick up and play. And that's really cool. Like, that's what inspires people. That's what young instrumentalists hear and like, I want to play that. I can play that if I worked at it a little bit. And yeah, I love it. It's such a great opening to the song. It just adds a fun element. And here we're hearing a little bit more of those extended techniques. So we're hearing a little bit more of those extended techniques. We're hearing a little bit more flutter tonguing. We're hearing a little bit more of those intentional dual tones. I love it. It just adds such a nice flavor, but it's not overdone. It's really easy for, you know, composers or performers to add things for the sake of adding flair, for the sake of look at what I can do. But here it's done very tastefully. It adds a really fun color. It adds some just lightness to it, but it's not overdone. It blends in with the song as opposed to being like, look at all this extended technique that I can do, which I feel like at least in contemporary pieces that I'm starting to see in like the classical flute world, where it's full of extended technique for the sake of having a lot of extended technique, whereas this kind of flavoring of extended technique is very intentional and is done specifically to add color. Da da 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. I'm loving his voice here. It's just he has such a lovely voice. Like, he's just a great musician. He can sing and he can play flute. And I've been told in my comment section that he's a, you know, we've watched one of his other videos where he played the acoustic guitar. So he's a really great guitar player as well. Like, he's just a fantastic musician. His voice just fits this vibe so well. And I love like these voice inflections that he's doing, and they're so smooth. There's no hiccups in them. They're just smooth, well done. It's just, yeah, he's a fantastic vocalist, because like getting those kind of vocal inflections to be really smooth, just, it takes work, and he's able to do it. And it blends so well, and it adds that lightness, that airiness, that fun playfulness, that kind of like, I'm singing this in the car with my friend vibes, and you don't entirely know the song, so you're kind of hitting wrong notes, but then you kind of slide into the right note. But it's obviously done intentionally, but it gives off that really fun, carefree vibe. It's just so well done. I'm pretty sure does he have a cigarette in his hand while he's playing? It looks like he's smoking something while he's playing. Again, I say this as a person who has one good flute. I am not a famous musician. I do not have lots of disposable income. I have just enough to fund my music career. The thought of doing that with my good flute, just like, ooh. But famous musician probably has lots of flutes. Not that big of a deal. You know, you can send one off to get fixed and you have another backup. I don't have that luxury, so I'm just like, oh, why? But, and I like how the band just gets so quiet. Like, the rest of the band are fantastic musicians too, because they went from like a pretty loud to like very quiet as soon as he came in. And just, that's well done. Having those dynamic shifts can be tricky. They can be very challenging to do, and to have it all done as a group, chef's kiss. It's good. It's just fantastic musicianship. And just, again, we talk about like how how effective the backing dropping and letting like the solo shine, even if it's for a couple of beats, a couple of measures. It's just such a really nice effect. It's just a really nice juxtaposition, especially when you have a drum to kind of like end it and then everything picks back up. I just love it. It's just well done. It's just good arranging. It's good orchestration for the ensemble. And I find it very interesting how he plays mostly with flat fingers, which you can do if you have a closed hole flute. I personally play on an open hole flute. It's kind of an American thing. A lot of Americans play on open hole flutes. British overseas, you find a mix of open hole and closed hole. So you can definitely do that with with a closed hole flute. But the flat fingers, you find a lot in like the traditional Irish sphere of, because like they tend to be simple flutes. Some of them have keys, but most of them don't. It's played almost more like a bagpiper would. So yeah, you see it in bagpipes too, where you play with very flat fingers. Flute players tend to play with more curved fingers. It just allows you to articulate. It gives you a little bit more freedom of motion when you're playing the flute. But like I said, a lot of it's bagpipers and a lot of traditional Irish flute players play with flat fingers. And I don't know the exact reason. It's just that's one of those traditional things. That's how it's done. But I believe, my very uneducated opinion, because I have not played an Irish flute. It's on my wish list if someone wants to buy me an Irish flute or knows where I can get one not very inexpensive. You know where to find me. But having flat fingers allows you to do a little bit more expressiveness within that. So if you watched a lot of like traditional music flute players and not necessarily classical, I wouldn't be surprised that you kind of picked up the flat fingers. Again, it's a stylistic thing, and whatever gets the sound out, I'm always a proponent of whatever works for you, whatever allows you to play in the best way possible for you do. It's just it's a fun thing to point out because, like I said, I see it in other places that aren't necessarily classical. So it's really cool. It's really cool. And I love like the flutter tonguing is very deliberate here. It's very deliberate. It's not overly done, and it's not super heavy. It's just enough to color the notes a little bit. And that is so tricky to do because when you flutter tongue, you either like literally like your tongue is vibrating, which for native English speakers can be very difficult. If you speak French or Spanish or some of the other Romance languages, kind of that movement with the tongue comes a little bit more naturally. As a native English speaker, you don't really roll consonants like that, so it can be very tricky. And some people do like a throat, like more I can't do it, so I'm not even going to attempt to do it here, but more of the flutter is more of a throat gurgle. In essence, like I said, I can't do it, so I'm not even going to try. But because of that, like it can be very harsh sounding. It can be, I know when I flutter tongue, like I said, I've said in previous videos, it's not something I do very often. I've seen it mostly in like flute ensembles, so I can kind of hide behind some of the other flute players who are a little bit more experienced at it. I have not had to utilize it in my own solo career, so it's not something that I'm very good at, and it's not something I practice much at as a result. But it can be very harsh, so to kind of just having that flutter tongue be as delicate as he's getting is just a testament to how amazing of a flute player he is, because that is not easy. I'm just digging this vibe. I don't think I wanted to comment on it earlier, but like the guitar player just kind of with his feet up playing, it's just like a very chill, like cafe or live jazz performance vibe. I'm loving it. How do you not listen to this song and just get happy? Like, this is a song that you listen to when you're sad and want to feel good. That's just what this whole song is, and everyone just is like very chill and cool and playing, and it's fun. It's just fun. So here I'm definitely thinking that this is like the full mixed song. It is the full mixed song. It's Katie, what are you talking about? It's the full mixed song, so you can definitely hear the 2-part harmony there. But I really like how it vibes with the bass guitar. Like, this bass guitar is having a really fun just riff, and it's really cool. And with the, you know, the double flute part, it just sounds so cool. It's just pretty and gorgeous and fun and light. And I keep saying light and fun because that's just the best way to describe it. It's just fun. I'm glad I listened to this. It's been a rough, busy week, and I've been feeling very overwhelmed with everything. And just hearing this song is just happy. It's making me happy. And even there, you hear some of his throat singing with it. And it just adds such a nice, fun, it's not overdone. I can, like, all of his extended techniques, which we have seen a lot and how amazing it is just not overdone. It's just strategically placed to add a really fun color or a different dimension to a specific part. And it's just so well done. Come on, dance with me. Dance with me. So here we're getting more into the soloistic part, and I'm living for it. I loved it. I'd be really curious to see if this was improvised or if he wrote this out beforehand. If you happen to know anything about how Jethro Tull and Ian Anderson went about writing these songs, let me know in the comments if these were more improvised as he was in the studio or if he actually wrote these out beforehand. I'd be curious to know. I know personally, I've done a mix. I can think of Last of Us, which if you're interested in that music video, I will leave a link above, where it sounds improvised, but it was kind of improvised, half written out. I went through it and improvised a couple of times, and I kind of took the best parts of the improvisation and put them together, and that's what I ended up recording. I know there's one other song where I just improvised it, and now I can't remember which one it was. There was another song that I did where I improvised a part. And it might have been Kaine Salvation, which I will leave that one linked in the cards as well. It might have been Kaine Salvation where I improvised that, and we just really liked that particular take, and that's what we ended up going with. I feel like there was another one, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So yeah, let me know if Ian tended to write these or if he improvised them in studio. But it's just fun. And like, yeah, like having those sound really good is tricky. That just takes a lot of practice to really get that for it to like sound good and intentional. And he's got a little bit of his extended technique. He's got a little bit of like straight playing, and it's just so beautifully done. Let's couple seconds play out. It's just, yeah, that's it. It's just so beautifully done, and I like how he saved that for the end of the song. You kind of had this whole song where you had these beautiful flute moments interspersed, but the end is where it like he really let it go a little bit. And yeah, it was beautifully done. It's just fun song. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, like I said, please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. If you have any other reaction suggestions you would like me to do, leave a comment. If there's any songs that you would like me to cover, also leave a comment below. I'm always looking for new song ideas. It doesn't necessarily have to be TV, anime, or video game. While I specialize in that, I will cover just about anything. And I do have a Patreon tier where you can, custom request a song. But yeah, that's all that I have. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for your support. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.